want to welcome you all to our informational session on the Future Ready with the Library Cohort 2. And I'm Linda Braun. I'm the YALSA CE consultant and also the manager for this project. And I'm going to move the slide, I hope. Come on. There we go. And here we are in the agenda. And so we're in the welcome and introduction section. And I'm going to go over the agenda. But before I do, I want to have the other two people who are here to present with me this afternoon or evening, I guess, depending on where you are, present themselves. So, Carol, who are you?
Hello. Oh, there we go. Can you see me now?
Yep. Hi, Carol.
Hi, you guys. I'm still fiddling with my, what I can see and whatnot. But hello, welcome to everybody who's managed to get here today. I really look forward to hearing from you and talking through you with this process.
Great. And who are you with this project, Carol?
Oh, I am the curriculum developer. There I am. Ta-da!
Yay.
I'm the curriculum developer. And I currently live on Lopez Island, Washington. So that's me.
In a small community.
And
yeah, and Chris, and do you know how many people on Lopez Island, Carol?
Full time, year round, there's 3,000.
Okay.
And then in the summertime, it's a kind of a destination spot. So it swells to about 10,000 actually.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a swell.
Lots of people.
Great. Well, thank you. And Christina Boyle is also here with me. And Christina, who are you?
Well, as you know, I'm Christina Boyle. So I am the Assistant Director at a Mineral County Library. We're located in what they call Frontier, Nevada. We're not even considered rural. It takes us an hour to get to the nearest Walmart. So every time we go out of town, we definitely take the chance to stock up on everything. And I am a lucky member of the first cohort, and I'm really excited to talk about everybody's work that we've been doing and some tips and tricks I've learned and just what the future holds for Future Ready with the library.
That's great. Thank you, Christina. So this is our plan for the day, the afternoon or whatever, as you see here, the agenda. And feel free, we'll have time for questions and answers, but feel free to use the chat in the bottom of your screen if you want to mention something or ask a question as we go along. Feel free, and we'll all tag team. Christina and Carol and I are going to tag team to some extent how this all goes. So for this session, we're going to talk a little bit about what Future Ready with the Library is and the whole idea behind it. And then Christina in particular is going to talk about examples of some of the things she's been working on, and Carol and I can talk a little bit about some of the other things that people have been doing. We're going to talk about what a year of being involved in this project is like, and I think Carol and Christina also will be saying some things about that. And then I know that you're probably interested in the application process, and so we'll go through that a little bit, and then also the selection process and next steps and question and answer, and we will spend about an hour doing that. So like I said, feel free to use the chat. I'm gonna if you can make sure you're muted, and if you, at the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer, you should see the mute. Carol and Christina and I are just gonna have the mics for the moment while we go through this, and then we'll definitely give people a chance to use their mics or use the chat for specific questions. So I'm going to keep going to make sure we have enough time to go through everything. So here is what Future Ready with the Library is. It's an IMLS funded project, and we are in the beginning of our second year. And the whole idea of Future Ready when YALSA applied to IMLS was to focus on small, rural, and tribal libraries and thinking about how they could work with middle school youth and families in order to help them think about college or career and pathways to that. And what we're thinking about at the middle school level is not so much, this is what I always say, it's not about applying for FAFSA or taking the SAT. It's about thinking about what you're interested in and thinking about what you might do with those interests. So Carol, before you came on, I think I was talking about yesterday when we heard about learning to be a mortician or learning to be a beekeeper, thinking about those kinds of things and not the actual process of getting into college.
And I might
go
add,
ahead, Carol.
being exposed to occupations that you might not even know
Right.
about, too. Figuring out what you're interested in, and also, you know, as middle schoolers, some middle schoolers have a limited exposure to different kinds of occupations outside the people that they directly see. So it's about that too, bringing in people that talk about other occupations and paths, you know, that they just might not be aware of yet.
Right, exactly. And one of the key pieces of that, so, is about connecting to the youth and their interests, but also connecting to community. So you see the next two bullets are community engagement and focus on creating something specifically geared to the community I'm saying you are in, as a meeting the people who are here. And so we are not working with saying, here's your step-by-step project that you're going to work on for middle schoolers. What we're doing is giving you support for developing a project that fits your community and for connecting with your specific community. So all the cohort members are asked to work directly with those in their community. And when we talk about community, we're not just talking about schools. So again, we're talking about businesses like the funeral home or the beekeeping, honey making business or whatever it is, and the organizations and agencies and parents and caregivers who work with the middle schoolers. So it's not just the library, but it's all the community, which in a small and rural and tribal community can be it can be powerful anywhere, but even powerful because you have that very small group of people to work with. We're also looking at the way we really ask the cohort members to support each other and work together on what they're working on. And so it's not, we don't just have you go out and do this on your own. We really want people to be working together on this, both in their community and both as a part of the cohort. And then we have a strong component about learning about your community and how you do that, and also learning about who middle school youth are, so and what their needs are. So in one of our video chats this week, we had someone from the After School Alliance talk about social emotional learning and how that what that means for middle school youth and how to work on that within communities. So Carol, anything to add on that?
Well, I just wanted to say a lot. I think one of the things we want to emphasize that it is about community partnership building. And that's what makes it kind of different from everything, all the other programs that you may have already done. Everybody that's on this chat today has probably done a lot of programming at their library if they've been a librarian or worked in libraries very long. But one of the things that makes this really unique and also brings in a lot of challenges is that it's about creating community partners that you work with, so that whatever the product that you create is something that both of you need along the way. And so we'll be talking about that more, but I don't think we can emphasize that enough. It's about learning how to do community partnership building and how to incorporate that into your programming so that it really fits with what your community needs. And sometimes that is actually surprising. And because you may go in, if some of the other people on the cohort were here, I'm sure they would laugh along with this, because you may go in with an idea. Once you talk to your partners, they have a completely different idea. And a lot of this process is about figuring out how to meet in the middle.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to continue on again. And if you have a question at this point, feel free to use the chat. I just want to get to Christina for one thing, but also make sure that we have time to have a conversation. So we've said a lot about this already, but these are the key concepts that I think we've sort of figured them out. One of the things that Carol and I and the whole cohort this year, we're learning together. So this is us learning with the cohort, but also you as a library staff member is always learning, and we're always looking at the kinds of projects you might be working on and how to improve them, how to change them, how to iterate them, and how to take some risks and see what you can do in your community. We're focused on social emotional learning, which is something that is raised. This is an interesting thing because it's something that we talked a little bit about at the beginning of this project year, but it's raised its focus in the work we're doing because it's become something. I think Christina can definitely talk about that. It's become a higher focus for us about connecting with youth and communities. It's about connected learning, connecting to partners and youth interests. It's about community partnerships, and it's about college and career pathways. Wow. And so these are all the kinds of things we've been talking about, but they're that when you work on your application, I think these two slides, this slide about passions and interests, what the focus is, and then the concepts are really important for you to keep in mind as areas that when we're looking at applications, we'll be looking at how these ideas are, questions are raised or expressed in these ideas. Did you lose? Am I still there?
Yeah.
Can you still hear? Okay. All right, great. So I want to move on to Christina because I think this is where we can have some really rich discussion in thinking about the work. And so Christina, can you tell us, everyone, a little bit? You can add to what we've just been talking about, but also if you could tell us a little bit about what you are working on, and also tell us what this picture is.
Well, I will start with the picture just because it really kind of tells about where we are. This was taken by a local businesswoman in town. She actually just was here doing an essential oils class for us for our summer reading program. And this road, I mean, this road just keeps going. We are actually located in the foothills of Mount Grant, and that's just, we see right there, snow-covered Mount Grant. We're like right down in the valley, right by, so we're pretty protected. We don't get a lot of snow on our ground, but we're surrounded by beautiful mountains and everything. But that's why we're called Frontier, because we really have nothing close by. But so, and I think that's one of the things that really interested me in this cohort in the first place, because I've had so many graduating seniors tell me that they only feel like they have two options. And I want to change that. I want to work with our youth to have them realize that they have so many options, whether they stay here, whether they leave, you know, it doesn't matter. We can help them realize that there's so much more available to them outside of our little town, even in our little town. But, you know, we're only an hour from California and Mammoth and Lee Vining and skiing and everything like that. So they could become ski instructors. And I don't think they even think about stuff like that. So this is what we want to help them realize. So one of the first things that I did after our wonderful and inspiring training in Atlanta was come back and I set up roundtables with our community, because that's what I wanted to find out, is what did our community feel like we needed. And so this slide, I created a pamphlet to hand out at a school function, and I handed it to any middle schooler, any middle school parent, teachers, actually any of the staff that worked at the school. I would hand it out to parents, everybody. And so it really just gives an overview of what the cohort's about, what our mission is, the Mineral County Library's mission. And I really wanted to make it fun and colorful and allow them to see, hey, this is actually going to be interesting, not boring and you know, 10. So this one was for our very first one, which was March 20th. And I talked to our friends at the library and I provided food, because I know if I have a meeting right after work and I haven't had a chance to eat dinner, I get hangry and I don't focus. Yeah. I can't concentrate on anything. I don't care what people are telling me. I just want to eat food. So we made sure that we had food to provide for because we were encouraging the middle school children to attend with their families. And we did 2 different meetings. And what we learned was that our community feels like we need to develop our social emotional skills, which is one of our anyway. So what we've been working on is ways to show them to help not only kids grow, but families grow together. So our very first program that we're going to do is actually a family workshop where we're going to discover the child's love language. They can fill out the little questionnaire, the kids can, and the parents can see how their children best receive love and how do they feel most loved. And that's based off the book by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages of Children. And we're going to talk about, how that affects their social emotional development and also their behavior, which then affects their success in school. And then we're going to slowly transition from that, hopefully into some career pathways programming in just a few short months after this. If you feed them, they will come. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at some of the
That's okay.
comments. Yes, absolutely. If you feed them, they will come. That was our philosophy. It's like, well, especially kids, teenagers, middle school kids, they eat so much. So we did pizza the first time and sub sandwiches the second time. And that's how also from these 2 different roundtables is how I discovered who my community partners would be, because we both have the same goals in mind and we're both focused on our youth, and we're actually now we're partnered with the Girls Club of Mason Valley with our Hawthorne site, and Community Chest Inc., which is / Families First, which really helps counsel and support young families in particular. So that's how, we were able to find our community partners and what our focus would be on in just 2 meetings, which was great, because when you first come out, you're like, okay, now what do I do? So now that we actually had an idea, we were able to just run with it from there. Let's see, Krista, I think your mic is live. Can you mute it? I think Linda, you have the powers.
That's right. I have the powers. Christy, so thank you, Suzanne.
Suzanne.
Let's see here. I'm trying to get there. Why is this not doing that? Okay. Yep. I am muting Krista. Okay. Christina, keep going if you have more.
Well, I'm just seeing, because Carol posted, so let me see. Yes,
yeah.
We also use the expression buy the coffee.
Yep.
To mean that when you're trying to get together for me. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it's always interesting to me. One of the things that I communicate with both of my community partners most is over Facebook and texting. And it just works for us because especially with the Community Chest with Sarah Dillard, who works for Community Chest, she travels quite often, but she's always accessible via phone or Facebook message. I actually just went camping with her this last weekend too. So
wow.
I feel like you just got to use whatever forms of communication works best for both of you. It works great for me because sometimes in our busy schedules, we don't have time to sit down together. Right. But if we can send each other quick messages just to update, hey, are we still on for Friday at 2? Particularly with Lindsay, who runs the Boys and Girls Club, I'll just double check. Hey, are you bringing the kids up for the movie? Which we're doing a movie tomorrow. And she's like, absolutely, we're still planning to get there. Because that's all we need. We need 2 sentences that tell each other that we're still on the same wavelength, because we've already discussed it at length previously. We've already, coordinated schedules. It's just a quick, hey, I'm still thinking of you. We're still good.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, yeah. That, I think, is the biggest thing that I've learned so much. As Lynn said, we're always learning. And I feel like I have learned so much about youth development in the last 6 months. And Carol and Lynn together, they come up with these really interesting programs. Well, not programs, I'm sorry, like, what do we call them?
Activities.
Carol, what do we call them?
Activities.
Okay. Yeah, it's our action plans. That's what they are.
Action, right.
Yeah, every month we have action plans and goals that we're trying to meet. And it really helps to push me. So thank you guys for doing that, because sometimes I do need a little kick in the behind. but it always makes you think outside the box, and finding the community partners, the workshop, the worksheet that we had for all that, it really did help.
That's great.
Good, thanks.
So Christina, I have a question. Well, question for you. Well, two things. One is one of the things I love about what Christina did is that you obviously didn't know what you were going to do, which is one of the things we hope people realize is that that you learn what you're going to do by talking to the community, which you did through this roundtable. But what's been the biggest challenge for you in being a part of this project?
My biggest challenge, besides sometimes just making sure that I set aside the time, and we all work for small libraries, we're all, you know, understaffed, we're all overworked. And there are times that I've taken home my reading materials, I've watched videos at home on, you know, in the evenings or on the weekends, just to make sure that I am getting a chance to listen to all great. Like I'm going to have to listen to the wonderful chat I missed yesterday because I had to go out of town. And so thank you for saving those for us as well. It's just a matter of making it a priority. So, and that side that I would say, I haven't met with any resistance per se, but when I was first trying to pinpoint a community partner, I'm trying to invite everybody to the roundtable, or even just talk to them one-on-one if they couldn't make the roundtable. It wasn't so much resistance. Everybody thought it was a great idea. Oh, yeah, we definitely need something like that in our community. I mean, before we even knew what it was, they were like, oh, this is wonderful that you're focusing on college and career readiness. But it was scheduling, I guess. They didn't really have time. Like I never really got into the school itself. I spoke with the counselor and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. But even the repeated times we've tried to set up meetings, it actually still never happened.
Right.
So I think, I don't want to say resistance. It's not, because they are very supportive of it and they think it's great. It's just time constraints. They're overworked. Oh, we had a power blip. Okay. I think I'm okay. You can hear me, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, we're having a storm. So if you guys lose me, because it is internet phone we just got here.
Okay.
I apologize. I think we're having a storm rolling. So, but I'll keep talking until.
Yeah. So, okay, that's great.
I would say probably that. I would, you know, and yeah, that's what I would probably say is our biggest one. And that's that point we just realized, you know, the school's going to be supportive, but they're not going to be our community partner. And that was fine. Because it was, you know, as Carol said, it doesn't have to be school. And that, you know, if it is, that's wonderful. If it's not, that's also great. You know, we're just going to work around. Our school is on 4 days. So once school is back in session, we could do things on Fridays because the kids are out of school. You know, so we're just going to work around that if we still can't manage to into the school. Right. But we're still working on it.
That's great. Thank you. So let's, and we can continue to talk amongst ourselves here, but this is, as Christina's been talking, these are the different pieces of a year. And so the project is basically a year. This group, the applications are due September 1st. October 15th, we will let everyone know what the decision making is. And then we'll meet. Christina and her cohort met at Midwinter in Atlanta in January of 2017. We will meet the cohort 2, and Carol and myself and the coaches will all meet in Denver in February of 2018. Right. So that's when the year will start, although we'll probably start in January. Carol and I will be working with the cohort to get them started. And we'll be starting with the virtual meetings in January to get to know one another. We really want the cohort to bond and to connect with each other. Christina, would you say that's been an important part of this for you?
I absolutely would say that.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think the biggest, of course, it was fantastic when we're all together in Atlanta, and some of those friendships that you form when we were meeting together. You know, I Facebooked a lot. I'm obviously big on Facebook. Facebook friended a lot of our cohort members, And it's been so interesting, not only to see what they're doing with this program, with the cohort itself, but what they're doing in their communities and libraries outside of this. It's been fantastic. So yeah, I absolutely would say the bonding's important, the friendships that we're doing here and we're continuing on, and the support. Because even though we all live in vastly different areas, we all have one thing in common. We're small and we care about the kids. So even that alone, a great bonding thing for all of us.
Great. So you bond in January, and then also at our 2-day meeting in Denver. And that will be just before midwinter of 2018. Carol posts monthly activities. Carol, do you want to talk a little bit about the monthly activities?
Well, those have evolved over the course of this program. And so, but we try to make them very, we are certainly not about adding any kind of just unnecessary work. So we've been trying to make them very practical, very targeted, in terms of giving people goals to set for themselves, of people to talk to, of like a program, like a checklist program to fill out. This has actually been the last thing, so that once you start to get towards your program, where you create a checklist, so you keep all of that information together. We've been also sending out different types of content too, whether it's articles to read or videos to watch or those kinds of things, and then people respond and also offer resources themselves. So we've been creating a resource list as we've gone along this year too, so that you're getting a lot of professional development, a lot of background information. Because hey, when I was a teen librarian before I came to this program, but still, there's this field is evolving very, very quickly, and the notion of college and career readiness for middle schoolers is really evolving. Just as I think it's very much like where early learning was, probably 15 years ago, maybe, when we first started to realize that first grade, getting kids ready to read, when they were in first grade just wasn't cutting it. That, they needed early learning skills and those kinds of things and most of the efforts in college and career readiness has been targeted at high schoolers, of course, but that there's been something of a gap in what's been provided for middle schoolers, and just thinking about that. But in the last several years, I'd say the last 5 years, maybe, there's been a lot of emphasis about bringing a greater awareness to middle school as education opportunities are evolving. Education is evolving. Whether people are choosing to go to college or take a different path in their career, in terms of going to either community colleges or technical schools or, entrepreneurial activities, those kinds of things. All of this is really kind of a fast moving field. So we've been trying to get people some information that's useful, get them some activities that feel like those are useful. And then as we have moved along, then a lot of the community building stuff has been incorporated into the monthly activities of what we would like you to be doing in your community.
Oh, did we just lose Carol? Did we lose me, or did we lose Carol?
I don't know. Linda, I have you. I don't have Carol anymore on the side, though.
We lost Carol, but I'll keep going. So we have the monthly activities. And I think the thing about those is they're scaffolded. So what we're trying to do is present a curriculum through these monthly activities that you start learning about community, you start learning about the youth in your community, you start learning about college career readiness. And then over the months, we actually hoped you, through these different activities, those who are participating in the cohort, actually have enough understanding that they can do this work. And so there's the monthly activities, there's monthly video chats that are optional, but it's a way to check in with everybody. We use Zoom, and so people can
Thanks, everybody. I'm back. I touched the wrong button on my computer. Yeah, and you know, as you know, Linda, like the monthly video chats, that's been something that's evolved. Somebody suggested that, and we added it to our monthly activities, and they have been really helpful, I think, in bringing people together. You know, because the truth of the matter is, people are spread out all over the country. And so pulling people together and giving them an opportunity to talk about their own projects and get feedback and support has been really helpful. So all of this has evolved. So you second year cohorts have the great benefit of learning from everything that we've been doing this first year. So that's been good.
Right, absolutely. And as you'll see, so like there's these different components, but a key piece of it between the monthly video chats, the activities, and then the interact with coaches and mentors is if you are a part of this project, you're a part of this project. We don't leave you alone in some ways, but so that we're always trying to help you achieve success in this project. So between the supports we give you, the activities, the video chat, etc., we really are there to help you. And I call, because we have coaches, and actually we're going to have we have two coaches this year, and Carol and I act as coaches. And next year, those who have 4 coaches who have participated in the cohort 1 will be 4 people who participate in cohort 1 will be coaches. So they will actually be working with who's ever in cohort 2. The whole thing here is leading to library staff developing a service of some kind. We say service because it can be anything from what Christina is doing with her roundtables, to the love language, to what comes next, to there's someone in central New York State who is working on an entrepreneurship program for middle school youth that is like blossoming. So it's whatever your community needs. And our expectation is that you will, however, work diligently over the 12 months or 11 months of this project to actually create this service and launch it. An important thing is that we like to talk about is that we do not expect the perfection. We do not expect perfection when you launch your service. We want you to try things out and see how they work, and then go back to the drawing board if need be. So when you develop that service, we're not thinking it's going to be done. It's going to be something that you are continually iterating and helping to grow. And then also there is always the chance to, wait, so Christina can't, Christina says she lost audio. Well, keep typing, Christina. That there's always the possibility of participating in other things. So we have blog posts that come from different cohort members. Oh, yay, she's back. And Christina is going to the Association of Rural and Small Libraries Conference in September. We have people presenting at the YALSA Symposium in November. We have other people presenting at the Association of Middle Level Education. I just put in a proposal for the Texas Library Association, and if that's accepted, we'll be asking people to present there. So there's like all different opportunities to not only participate in learning, but then also help others learn about what's going on and gain the skills. So I want to go into the application process, and Carol and Christina, I'm going to ask you, I'll go through this list really quickly, but then to give your 2 cents or 5 cents or however many cents. So the application is due September 1st. And as I said previously, those key concepts and the background on the project are really key to the application and how you might think about submitting your application. But you notice here that I have 3 times said capacity. The first one says capacity to do the work. I was too lazy to repeat that 3 times, so I just did capacity. But this whole idea of this is a commitment for 12 months. I don't want to say like, oh my gosh, you can't do anything else. But we do expect people to be committed to doing this work over 12 months. And it can take, as Christina was saying, it can take time. It can mean that you have to leave your library building and be able to meet with people. You might have to do things at weird hours, not weird, but not necessarily the 9 to 5 hours or 8 to 5 or whatever, just at different times of the day. So we really do expect people who are going to apply to think about, I need to actually make a commitment to this. And I think the other thing that we've discovered is that you may think today and tomorrow, and even if you get selected, that you have the capacity to do this. And you might find out that, you know what, we don't. It's just, there's things that happen. And this has happened to a couple of people in the cohort. But coming in, we need to know that, you know, you're going to really work hard to make this work. The community, you're going to be working with community. It's also, you need to be flexible. Things have changed along the way, and we try and be very flexible. Carol and I try and to be very flexible. We may vent at each other periodically, but we try and be really flexible, and also just be committed to the ideas of working with middle school youth and communities to help them succeed in whatever way you find out your community needs. So Carol and Christina, what would you add to that? I did it really fast, but I think, you know, this idea of if you're going to apply, you want to know what we're looking for at the end, and also what will make your application sing. That's not the right word, but stand out. What do you think, Carol and Christina?
Go ahead, Christina.
Well, okay. I do like, Linda, how you put on here, because I do think the community focus and your commitment to your community are some of the biggest drives that you're going to have in this. It is a lot of, for me at least, I should say, I cannot speak for every member of the cohort. It has been a lot of after hours stuff. Luckily, with my position, and my director is fully on board. So she allows me to run to a meeting or to have a meeting here in the middle of the day about, you know, the programs that we're going to run. And she's great about running, you know, ideas off of her and helping even develop our ideas even further. I think when we left Atlanta after our meeting, I think some people were very confused as to what the cohort was and what the goal was. I think some people were going into it thinking that there was already going to be a plan in place, and they didn't realize that they were going to reach out and develop a program versus already just picking up one and running with it. But that's why this program is so wonderful, because we're building it for our communities. We're not taking one from a city 2 hours away that has, you know, $1 million budget and 15,000 people come into their library. You know, we're working with our community in our small areas and developing it to work for us. And I think that's what's so wonderful about it. I also think that's what's thrown some people off. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just important for anybody who is interested to realize that it's not already pre-programmed. It's something that you are going to have to work hard at, and to talk to your community, talk to your youth, talk to parents, schools, anybody in the community, really. I've learned so much about some places in my community that I didn't even realize was going on, activities and programs already in place I didn't even know about until you guys made me reach out, which is fantastic. So I think that's one of my big things that I would really stress for anybody who is interested in applying.
And Carol?
Well, thanks for saying that, Christina, because I think that's so true, that what this program does is radical. It's not your grandma's library program. So this grant process really encourages you to reach out into your community, probably like you never have done before. I swear. I mean, and I think Christina's right in that. I think some people thought that they were going to come in and get a tried and true program that we have used before, and we said, here, go back and take this to your community and implement it. And that's just not what this is about. It's about creating something really new, which is, if you like that sort of thing, it's really exciting. And if you don't like that sort of thing, we found that some people were really confused by it and fearful of it. But one of the people who Linda was just talking about a little while ago was so upset at the first, like going, what am I supposed to do with all of this? You know, I thought I had this plan, and I thought I had this community partner, and blah, 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 and it didn't work, but she sort of kept with it. And what she's planning to do now is so great, because basically a lot of what we talk about is listening to your community partners, listening between the lines, listening, you know, having a lot more focus on listening to what they feel like they need help with, or they feel like the students that they are working with, you know, would respond to. And so it's worked out for those folks who have been able to stick with it, but it does take time. And I guess the thing that I would say is it does take time. And one of the things that people have a hard time building in is things are going to fall apart at your library system, wherever you are. I think we can all nod our head on that. It's like your staff is going to change, or they're going to change the building on you, or there's going to be, you know, things that you just really cannot predict. But one of the things that Linda said, and I really want to emphasize this, is this one, unusually, this grant is not looking for perfection. It's not about creating a perfect program that is absolutely nailed down in every sort of way. This is not that program. It's asking you to try some different things, give it a whirl, try to learn from what you did for this program, and to go on and try it again. It's just not about delivering the very best, the very most perfect program you ever saw the first time out. And there's a lot of grace in that, I think. If you can get, I think what I would say is it will ask you to be outside your comfort zone some, probably.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And if you can handle that, and, or, you know, and, or if you're able to work with that and it doesn't overwhelm you or defeat you in some sort of way, the end result of that is something you probably couldn't predict today what it will turn out to look like. I am sure there are members of this cohort who are planning programs they never, the first cohort, they never would have predicted. And that is a beautiful thing to see. So
that is, Carol, you're making me cry. So
and can I add
go ahead.
Real quick,
yeah,
Linda?
Absolutely, Christina.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I think, Carol, you're spot on with that, because you know, when I first even applied myself and I was thinking, you know, college and career readiness with middle schoolers, of course, the first things that popped in your...
Oh no, did we lose her again?
Uh-oh, lost you, Christina. If you can still hear us.
Come back to us, Christina. Well, while we're waiting for Christina to come back, I just wanted to say, so as you're thinking about the application, keep this in mind. There's a couple of questions which are check boxes towards the end about if whether or not you agree, people would say you're a risk taker and you're comfortable with ambiguity and things like that. Those are there for a reason, because that's what this project is. There's a lot of ambiguity because it's about your community, not about Carol and me. It's about, you know, being flexible and being a risk taker. So as you're filling out the application, I don't want to suggest one does not apply, but I think you want to take to heart the things we're saying and think about as you talk about your community, as you talk about your capacity. Just keep in mind that these are things that that you need to take seriously. It's really exciting, and if you can do it and think about that as you apply, I think that's a really powerful thing. I'm hoping Christina comes back. Because I want to give time for more questions if we need. So I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully she will be back. So in terms of, I'm on the wrong. I have two devices, so I changed the slide where you can't see it. So the due September 1st, as I already mentioned. Oh, Christina, you're back?
I am, yes.
Okay,
we got these
going.
new internet phones, and they're interesting. So I'm not sure where I got cut off at, but I was just thinking that, you know, really it's developed from something what I thought I was going to do to above and beyond that, and to help them you know, with their actual social development, which will help them so many ways in life. You know, so it's just been an enriching program for me alone, you know, and I'm hoping that we can reach these kids, and my library is just very excited about it, as well as my community partners.
That's great. So thank you. I'm so glad you got back. Due September 1st, we have an advisory committee that will, and Carol and me and Beth Yoke, the executive director of YALSA, as well as our advisory committee, will review the applications. We have a rubric that's basically based on the questions that you are asked in the application, and then we will notify everyone by October 15th. And you do have to sign an MOA saying you agree to the different activities, including going to Denver, participating in the community of practice, developing a service, and things like that. And then this is what you receive. You've already heard, you know, you get the training, you get professional development, all that kind of stuff. But you also, and Carol, I didn't change this first bullet because this is a little bit in flux. You do get, if you are selected, funding to travel to Denver, which includes airfare and 2 nights hotel, I believe. The thing is the way that works may vary based on who you are. So some libraries staff want to make their own reservations for the airfare. Some also will do it. So we will work with the libraries on how that works. So funding to get to Denver as well as stay in Denver, we do not pay for the midwinter registration, but we can pay for your travel. You get the training that we've been talking about. You get materials that YALSA provides, some materials that you can have sent to you, so some different YALSA publications and things. And then at the year after participation, if you do make it through, it's awesome. And almost everyone is going to make it through this year. There's a couple of things that, you know, life changes, like we've said. But if you are able to make it through, you get $500 a stipend to attend a conference or some other professional development event related to the work. And I do also want to say, so when I mentioned before that Christina is going to the Association of Rural and Small Libraries, YALSA is not able to pay for that registration, but is able to pay for travel, just like to go to Midwinter. So Christina's hotel and airfare will be taken care of for that. So this is what you get. And I think Christina has said how beneficial beyond this, this project has been for her. Anything in Carol or Christina in terms of the receiving?
No, nothing that I would add.
All right. All right. All right, so now we are at the questions and answers. If you have a mic, you should feel free at, let's see, a per diem. Yes, we can pay for a per diem for that travel. So that's taken care of. You don't have to do that out of pocket. But now we are at questions and answers. If you have a mic, feel free to unmute yourself or type in your questions and we'll be happy to answer them. I feel like I got a little like intense about all that it's required, but I don't want to dissuade anyone from doing this. I just want people to realize what goes into it. So what are people?
Yeah, this is always the best part. What are the questions? Yeah.
What are the questions?
And I just want to note on Anne, on your post here, I don't know if your state does anything, but ours does travel to training. And that's actually how my cost for ARSL is being covered for the actual registration. The state is covering that for us.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I forgot about that. That's great.
Yeah, so there might be other options too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And actually also when we're at the association, well, Katie Baxter, who's in Alaska, and one of her, we have small groups who also work together in the cohorts. Oh my gosh, Annie Miller, who's in New York, are going to participate in the Association of Middle Level Education Conference in Philadelphia, YALSA can't afford to fly Katie from Alaska to Philadelphia, but she's going to participate virtually, we hope, depending on the time zone issues. So, there's other ways to do that. Oh, good. So you do have a program in Michigan. Other questions?
Hey, do we have any tribal libraries represented in this group? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Anne. Perfect.
Cool.
Wonderful.
And where are you, Anne? Where are you located? I'm sorry.
Oh, wow, she's got 3.
Oh, so Michigan. You're in Michigan. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I think we have two cohorts. 2 from
Minnesota.
Oh,
Mount
right.
Pleasant.
I'm sorry. M-word.
That's okay. Yeah. Hillary's in not Hillary. Hannah's in Minnesota.
Yes, Hannah Buckland.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And actually, Carol, I wanted to just mention, could you talk a little bit about your association with this project outside of being the curriculum developer? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, I'm not sure.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, remarkably, we had no idea about this, but I grew up in Middle Tennessee. I live in Washington. Linda and I worked together at the Seattle Public Library. Is how I got involved in this. But I'm living on Lopez Island, Washington. But last year, to our great surprise, my hometown of Marshall County, Tennessee, which is a really small town, applied for and was accepted into this program. So I'm actually working with the library where I got my very first library card with this program, which is pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so,
Hannah, somebody is saying Hannah's awesome. So true. I wish she were here. She's really awesome and added a lot. And she's works with a tribal library college there in Minnesota.
Yeah. So, Robin, so the costs you mean the airfare and hotel? YALSA will make a reservation for the hotel for you. So that's not, you have no connection
All that
with that.
was very seamless. I'll have
yeah.
to say.
The airfare can go either way. So airfare either depending, we have to play around with this a little bit this year because a couple of things happened last year. But if you need YALSA to pay for the airfare up front, that can happen, or if people want to pay for it themselves and get reimbursed. The thing about getting reimbursed is that, oh, I see, Robin. Right, no, that's only if you wanted to go to the midwinter meeting. We can't pay the registration for that.
But maybe she's talking, once you complete this grant, then there is money to pay for your registration to another conference, right? So I'm not sure, Robin, which question we're talking about. But there's money at the end for you to go to another conference. But the midwinter conference where it kicks off, I guess you have to pay the registration, but the grant can get you there.
Right. So the one in February, you do not have to go to midwinter. I'm sorry, we're being confusing. You do not have to go to the midwinter meeting you do not have to register for the midwinter meeting to participate in this because it happens the 2 days before midwinter starts. So there's no registration cost related to that. And then
I didn't go to midwinter.
Yeah, right. So yes. And then the other thing that I just want to say in terms of successful completion, I should say that successful completion means at least piloting a project. It doesn't mean like you have to have the perfection we're saying you don't need. And then after that, you just, because Carol has developed these different templates, we see along the way how you're working and managing through your project and through your various posts that you will do on our community of practice. We will see, and successful completion means testing out a service of some sort. It's not that. And then part of the idea is, yes, and actually I was talking to Beth Yoke about this morning, is that we want these to be replicable within the sense of here's an idea, but you still have to check with your community to see if it'll work in your community. So it might be customized, but we'll be posting these sort of as case studies so that it's examples that you might want to then think, oh, would this be of interest in my community? How am I going to find out? Does that answer that question? Does that make sense?
And can I just say, one of the things that's going to happen with this grant is that you are going to become something of the expert in your community on this issue. So, and this issue is certainly not going to go away. It's going to get to be a bigger and bigger issue. So it's in terms of professional development and how that applies to you in your career. This, as we've seen with the cohort that we're working with now, they are becoming the go-to person to ask. That the rest of the community and the larger community are coming to them and asking them about the things that are going on with middle school, college and career awareness and readiness. So that's just kind of a thing that is going to happen. You're gonna have a lot of professional development around this particular topic.
Yeah. And Carol, that also reminds me that one of the people, I can't remember who it was at this point, but she said a couple of months ago that she was working on, working with her community, and that she was finding that people were saying, oh, well, the library's good for early literacy. We don't need you for this, which they didn't say it exactly that way. I'm being a little bit, but the thing is that what she's been able to do is start to go into the community and say, yes, it's true, we're awesome for early literacy, but you know what? We are awesome all the way up, and here's why you can't stop paying attention to the library, even if your child is in 3rd grade or 6th grade or whatever. So, it's been a really great way for some of the cohort members to work with their community to say, we're more than a lot of people now say libraries are more than books, but we're also, when it comes to youth, we're more than early learning and early literacy. We're there for middle school, college, career readiness, and so many other things as well. Oh, great. Thank you, Christina. And I've, Christina put in her email address. Here is the info about the website and the, what do I want to say, Linda? The application, and also my email. Carol, if you feel comfortable, you could put your email in the chat.
And can I just say, Heather, Tamika, Carol, Dennis, I'm just looking at some of the folks. Any of you guys got any questions? And thanks for your comment, Patty. But I'm really glad you guys are here. Do any of you guys have anything burning questions you'd like to ask?
And the other thing is, thank you, Carol. And then just the other thing is, if you have questions along the way about the application, you should feel free to ask. We actually, this year, Cohort 1 didn't get this. And if you look at the website, we have samples of some of the activities we've worked on, and some of our frequently asked questions has been expanded because we now have more information from Cohort 1. But if you have questions about any of the pieces, you should make sure. So yeah, so just let me know about your library a little bit, and I can check and make sure you're available. Yes, slides will be available. I will be posting the recording and the slides tomorrow on the Future Ready webpage, but also I'll email everyone who signed up. So even those people who weren't here, with the links to those things, so you will be able to access them. Happy to help. You're welcome. Good. All right. Yeah, definitely check and find out about whether or not you're eligible. The project goals needs are in your community, college, middle school youth and families. Right. Yeah. Yep. That question's repeated? Oh, all right. I will take that out. Thank you.
Wow, good catch.
Just on the sample, but not on the real thing, right?
Oh.
If it's on the, I can take it off the real thing too if it's there, but I will definitely take it off the sample. All right.
Good catch, Ann.
Yeah, thanks, Ann. All right. Yeah. No, I don't think there's another one missing, but I will make sure. I filled out an application for a conference program a couple of months ago that the sample was totally different than the actual application. And of course, I waited till the last minute to fill out the actual application, and it was like, oh, none of my stuff works. So anyway, I will make sure it's okay. Thank you for everyone for being here, and definitely if you have any questions or need anything along the way, we hope you will apply, and we are happy to answer your questions. Have a great rest of your evening, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are.